We've already increased the resources by about 87% up until the middle of last year, and we're in the process of updating those resources again right now.
Hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Ed Turner, who is the CEO of Kingwest Resources. Ed, good to see you.
And good to see you, Leo.
I want to start things off. If you could just give us an overview of where your company's projects are located. You've got a number of projects just north of Kalgoorlie in a very sort of significant zone for gold mining.
That's right, Leo. It's basically an extension of the same geological sequence that you get at Kalgoorlie. So we're in the greenstone belt, the Norseman Lunar Greenstone Belt. So our two main projects are at Menzies, which is about 120, 130 kilometres north of Kalgoorlie, and at Goongarrie, about 80 to 90 kilometres north of Kalgoorlie. So the Menzies is the one with most of the historic mining, and Goongarrie is more of a grassroots exploration play at this stage.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, Menzies had some historical, it was a mine historically. What situation is it in now?
Well, there were numerous mines actually, starting underground mining in about 1895 through to the Second World War. And there was very high grade producers, so they produced about 650,000 ounces combined at 22 grams per tonne. And then in the 90s, up to about 2002, there was open cut mining done, so another 140,000 ounces at 2.6 grams per tonne. Since then, very little work done, or piecemeal work was done in the last 20 years, until we acquired the project in September of 2019. And since then, we've drilled about 30,000 metres of drilling, largely focused on proving up the near surface gold resources. And that's been very successful. We've already increased the resources by about 87% up until the middle of last year. And we're in the process of updating those resources again right now. And we'll be releasing all those results in the next few weeks. But hopefully we've increased the size of them again and the level of confidence. So taking a lot of it from inferred into indicated resources. So that means that we can feed them into scoping studies and economic modelling in the next month as well.
Excellent. So you're going to be producing some sort of what stage is it? Feasibility studies, pre-feasibility studies? That's
scoping study right now. So we'll finish the scoping study in the next month, basically. That will lead straight on to the pre-feasibility study. But potentially, because we're in granted mining leases and we're in a good location on the Goldfields highway, we can potentially do toll treatment of any resources at a number of processing facilities which are within trucking distance. So that speeds up the whole process of getting into production. And we could be producing gold from shallow open cuts as early as this time next year.
I see you're currently being attacked by a fly there. You can tell you're down in Australia there, but we'll carry on regardless. But you've recently at your other project at Goongarrie, you've had some very interesting results. It's a greenfield project there, yeah?
Yeah, there has been some historic production at Goongarrie, but quite small. Basically, a lot of the project's the same size as our Menzies project, but a lot of it's under shallow salt lakes or ancient transported sediments, basically. So it hasn't been effectively explored effectively explored as Menzies and a lot of the other projects along strike to the south towards Kalgoorlie. But it's another exciting project because basically it's the same sequence of rocks and similar structural controls. So we've spent over a year just reviewing all the historic work and figuring out where the best targets are. And we've just completed over 10,000 metres of aircore drilling. And some of that was to what we call blade refusal, through the regolith right down to fresh rock. Some of it was more like shallow geochem holes. But we just made a discovery of 38 metres at 3 grams per tonne in one of the holes, and included in that was 6 metres at 17 grams per tonne. So once again, very high grade, and we're very encouraged by that. And we've got a lot more work to do there to follow that up.
And that discovery that was undercover, hasn't it? Isn't it? So it's sort of been overlooked for a while, yeah. Yeah,
there wasn't actually that much cover at that location, just by chance. But a lot of most of the area, there is transported cover. Yeah. So basically, the gold was blind to the old prospectors, so they couldn't detect the gold at surface. So that made it very difficult to explore in the past, but it's actually beneficial to us now that we've got a good budget we can explore effectively, and that goes for under the middle of the salt lakes as well. So we've got a track-mounted rig lined up to do some drilling of some of our remaining targets right out under the middle of the salt lakes in a few months' time.
Fantastic. And one issue that's obviously come up with a lot of mining companies, exploration companies in the last years is the shortage of rigs available. Do you have drilling rigs ready to go?
Right now we do. We're actually still drilling at Menzies. The track-mounted rig, they're much harder to find. So that's why we're still waiting another few months to get a hold of that. It's much easier to get the normal conventional drill rigs. But yeah, since COVID kicked in, it has been difficult to get people and drill rigs because of the closed borders and that. It hasn't actually affected our field work. Besides that, we're in a good jurisdiction, so we haven't had to stop work, but it's been difficult to get the equipment.
And obviously the recent sort of snap shutdown in Perth hasn't affected operations out in Kalgoorlie.
No, well, the mining is considered to be critical industry, so we can keep on exploring. There's some a few more restrictions in place, and we've got to follow the guidelines set by the state government. But at this stage, it hasn't affected us yet.
So you've got some interesting looking sort of drill targets there to focus in on in 2021. In terms of funding your drilling, how's that looking? How's the outlook looking for the funding capital?
Pretty good. We started the quarter with $5 million still in the bank, so we can do quite a lot more drilling, and the scoping study and feasibility study with that money. So we're in a good position there.
And who are your shareholders?
We have Horizon Minerals, who we acquired the project from, our largest shareholder at 13%. They are another gold company of projects around Kalgoorlie. We have 1832 from Canada at about 6%, so they're the major shareholders. Right.
So you've got the big institution there on the register. Yeah. Excellent. And your immediate plans, what should investors be looking out for in the next few months in terms of news flow?
We'll be releasing more drill results from Goongarrie soon. Some of the best holes are still to come there. So we've only got a relatively small percentage of the assays there still. We will be releasing the updated mineral resource estimates from Menzies in a few weeks' time, and then the results from the scoping study. And then now we're doing deeper drilling at Menzies, because basically the resources are focused on just the top 100 vertical meters. So what can go into an open cut mine or multiple open cut mines in the next few years. So now we're going and drilling that panel from between, say, 100 and 400, 100 and 300 vertical meters from surface. Because we know these systems, they do have deep roots. One of the underground mines at Menzies went down 600 vertical meters, and we know that's kept going, and it keeps going below that. So some of these other ones, we're going to be drilling those out over the next 12 months as well to prove up underground deposits for the future.
How deep have you drilled so far then?
We drilled one hole under that deep workings intersected mineralisation about 730 metres down hole, and so we know it's still there. But right now we're mostly focusing on that 100 to 200 vertical metres. There's very little historic drilling below 100 metres, so that's good for us at being. So
plenty more interesting opportunities to look out for. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for that whistle-stop tour through Kingwest Resources. Thank you very much, Ed Turner.
My pleasure. Thanks, Leo.